I'm Shane Johnson, a wine enthusiast and someone with a passion for cooking. And you're watching Delicious Wine and Food with the Cork Dork. Today on the Cork Dork, we're going to be smoking a chicken. We're going to smoke it on a green egg, which is a ceramic cooker that actually acts like an oven and a smoker at the same time. Before we do that, we're first going to grill it so we get some nice char marks on the skin, and then I'm going to convert the green egg over into a smoker slash oven, put a little kiss of smoke on it, and it's going to be juicy and delicious and awesome. Oh, and let's not forget, there's going to be some wine along the way. Alright, so for our smoked chicken today, I got a 3-pound chicken here, and I could smoke it whole, but there are 2 issues with that. 1, it would take forever, and I'm kind of impatient. 2, I'd be afraid I wouldn't get smoke inside the chicken where, you know, some of that raw flesh is that we want to have a little smoke flavor at least. So the way around that is to cut out the backbone. I'm going to call this spatchcocking a chicken. I'll show you how that's done. There's 2 ways to do that. I could use a knife, and it works fine, but I found by using the shears you have pressure from both sides, and it just works a little better. So we'll do that now. Notice I'm cutting along the backbone. Like so, all right. There we go. Another thing I don't want in this chicken is all this additional fat here is not good. It's unsightly. I want to get rid of that. So I'm going to cut that off. And last but not least, we want this chicken to lay down flat. So you kind of crack it by putting pressure down on it, just like that. And now we've got the bottom of the chicken, or the inside of the chicken I should say, exposed. Alright, so now that I have the chicken cut open, I've patted it dry, I've washed my hands, so they're clean hands. To do this process, I'm going to try to use just my left hand to touch the chicken so I keep my right hand clean. And I picked out 2 types of seasoning. Now folks, you can do whatever you want here. If you have a favorite seasoning blend, a store-bought or homemade, go for it. This is just what I like to use. I have a jalapeno salt. I found this gem in Cottonwood. It's salt with a kick. How can you beat that? And I'm going to just salt it all over, fairly liberally, and make sure that I pull some of this up to get in here on these legs, which are probably the best part of the chicken, right? The legs and the thighs. The second thing I'm going to use is a Cajun rub, also got in this place in Cottonwood. The contains mostly like paprika, cayenne pepper, onion powder, garlic powder, that sort of thing. I like the way it tastes, so we're going to use some of that on there. Alright, so we've got this side all seasoned up. Let's give her a flip and get to the best part. That is the skin side. And we're going to hit it again with that jalapeno salt. And make sure we're getting into all the nooks and crannies, just like so. And we're going to hit it again with some of this Cajun rub that we have all over. Any meat you put on the grill, you want to put oil on it to keep it from sticking to the grill. That makes good common sense. When I have done this in the past, and I've seasoned the chicken, sometimes I'll put the oil on first and then season it. That's great, but then I question, am I burning the seasonings and not burning the chicken? What's going on there? So it works, at least, you know, if it's oily, it's tacky and it sticks, but probably rather season it and then put oil on it. In the past, I've done that, and what has happened is I wind up taking the seasoning off with the oil with my brush, or if I'm using my hand, and that's no good either. So I came up with this idea of putting the oil in the pan I'm going to use it. So to tote the chicken around. This is canola oil. And I'm basically just putting enough to coat the bottom of this little Pyrex pan here. And with my good hand, once again, I'm going to put this chicken in here. Oh, look at this. There's all this spot I didn't cover. Let's get that. There we go. Kind of lay it down in here. Maybe give it a good flip. And now I've oiled the chicken and I haven't lost all of my seasoning. Of course, I'm going to put some saran wrap on this, put it in the refrigerator until we're ready to cook. Important note, let's pull it out of the refrigerator a good 30 minutes to 45 minutes before we actually cook, so it's up to room temperature and we're not starting with the cold chicken. So the lemon, I'm actually going to grill this at the same time I grill the chicken before I start to smoke the chicken. There's no need to smoke the lemon, but the first step of our process is going to be to grill the chicken first. And I'm going to cut this lemon in two and grill it. Now you could use limes, you could use grapefruit, oranges, whatever citrus floats your boat. I happen to like what lemon brings to the party. And when you grill it, you get all these, caramelize all the juices, and it's kind of got a sweet, smoky taste to the lemon juice. It's awesome. And when we're done with the chicken, we'll just squeeze that over the chicken. Let's talk about wood. Chips, that is. So I've got some soaking here in a bowl. Now, chicken is, when it comes to smoking chicken, the meat is such that it doesn't stand up too well to heavy smoke. So I don't want to blast it with a bunch of smoke. Otherwise, we're going to have this chicken that's almost unedible. Well, it actually could be unedible. All I want to do is really kiss it with smoke. So I'm only using these small, tiny chips. No need to use chunks for this, unless maybe you were going to have maybe 2-3 chunks and that's all you were using. So let's talk about the type of wood. I'm using apple wood, pecan wood would be great. Also, any kind of fruit wood, cherry wood would be great as well. You wouldn't want to use mesquite, that's too heavy again for chicken. I would save that for your brisket. Use something light like this, and maybe soak the chips for 30 minutes to an hour. It doesn't need to be soaked any longer than that. You don't actually have to soak the chips, believe it or not, but with these tiny little chips like this, they'll go up and smoke in a matter of seconds. So soaking them delays the process just a tiny bit, allows me to get everything ready. In other words, put my grill the way I want it just before I throw these chips in. So for tonight's dinner, I decided to please both crowds, because I know there's a white wine crowd and there's a red wine crowd, and then there's people like me who like both. So for the white wine, I'm thinking it's a smoked chicken. I've seasoned it with some Cajun rub. It's a little spicy, so I want something with some zip, some lemony type zip to it, citrus. So I'm thinking, Chardonnay, maybe, sure. Smoke, what else would be good with smoke? Well, something toasted or aged in oak, like a toasted oak barrel. Chardonnay. And so for this particular Chardonnay, I picked something I'm very familiar with, which is Rodney Strong Chalk Hill Chardonnay. Should run you anywhere from $12 to $17 in your wine store. And what I like about it is all the reasons I've already mentioned. It's bright, lemony, and has this kiss of oak to it. I think it's going to pair perfectly with our smoked chicken. So you get a hint of that toast right off the nose from the oak. And it's almost like a lemon cream. Not quite the over-the-top buttery consistency that you get with a lot of California Chardonnays. This holds back a little bit. Really good stuff, and not too expensive. Well, on the other hand, for our red today, I went overboard. Now this is a splurge wine. I wouldn't expect everybody to be drinking this on a weeknight for no particular reason. This is more of a special bottle. It's from a winery that actually appeared in the movie Sideways, called Seed Smoke, and this is their top of the line Pinot Noir. It's called 10, and they are located in the Santa Rita Hills, not too far from Santa Barbara, so south central coast California. As you can see, it's bright ruby red. A lot of sandalwood aromas I'm getting off that. And some bright cherry. You know, Pinot Noir tends to be more of a silky, smooth wine as opposed to a robust cab. But this Pinot Noir is pretty heavy. It's pretty concentrated. It's not as big as a cab, don't get me wrong there, but it is robust. Now, why did I pick this for our smoked chicken? Well, A, it does have a little of the oak. Again, oak and the smoke, they're going to complement one another. But Pinot Noir is very good about this. It has a lot of acidity. And the acidity is going to cut through some of that rich fat that we're going to get from that chicken and the richness in general, especially with the dark meat. This would be great with the dark meat. This would be better with the white meat, my personal opinion. And Pinot Noir is a very, very food-friendly grape. It's a grape that goes with so much different food. In fact, it's the one red wine that I feel comfortable serving with a lot of fish, where I wouldn't dream of serving a big cab with a light white fish. I might consider it. If you didn't want to spend as much as this is, and this is probably around $90, then I would go with something else, maybe from the Santa Barbara region or even from the Sonoma Coast region. Something that's going to be a Pinot that has got a little jammier. It's not a light Pinot. Oregon would be more light. If you want something more like this, stay with California. But Sea Smoke 10, if you have the money, it's worth the splurge. Amazing. Alright, so this is our Komodo style grill. It's a green egg, but there are several versions. Come closer, I want you to look inside here. Now, some of you may not have a ceramic type cooker like this, but this is not so different from like a Weber style or kettle style griddle, where you have your charcoal in here, and we're going to have these grates. We'll put it on here. If you were going to make what we're making tonight, the smoked chicken, what you'd want to do is you'd want to move all the charcoal over to one side. It's to create two different zones, a hot zone and a cool zone. That's what you would do to smoke this chicken. For instance, you'd obviously light the charcoal on this side, and you put the grates on. When you came time to smoke the chicken, you would throw the chips onto the hot side, keep the chicken onto the other side that's cool, so that it's not under direct heat. And the kettle itself, once the wood chips caught fire, would start smoke, and you'd get the smoke that way. Well, this ceramic cooker is all made for this. This is going to be awesome because we have a couple components here. We have the grates themselves. Then we have this, what's called a deflector or diffuser plate. This plate goes in, and it actually is going to sit right on top of here, and the heat is not going to be right up under my chicken when we're smoking. It's going to come out around the sides, and with this dome top, it's going to turn into like an oven, if you will, and it's going to smoke and roast the chicken at the same time, keeping it moist and juicy. So, to get it lighted, what I have here is called a loof lighter. Now, you can use all kinds of different methods to light your charcoal. This is kind of an expensive gadget, but it's so worth it. You press a button, plug it in, and it starts to get hot, and you basically stick it into the charcoal like this, and the charcoal actually lights within minutes. So I'm going to do this in a triangular pattern, here, here, and here, to get it all, the charcoal, more or less lit the way I want it. So something I like to do is, now I've got my whole triangular section lit. I like to go back and revisit each spot, make sure it's good and lit. The first stage of this smoked chicken is to grill the skin and get nice char on the skin. We're not even going to mess with the diffuser plate or the wood chips till I get a nice crispy skin. And to achieve that, I want these charcoal to get nice and hot. and this grill grate to get really hot too. I'll throw this in here. All right. Second thing I want to draw your attention to, I have my vent wide open. Why do I have it wide open? Well, I want as much oxygen to get in here as possible to heat it up. The top vent here, we're also going to leave wide open. Now, the way this grill works, and even a Weber kettle grill, same way, you want to leave the vents wide open at first while you're bringing it up to temperature. Once it gets to temperature, we're going to start to choke back the vents, cut it off, and kind of find a groove with you, if you will. And we're looking for about 350, 375. That's the heat that we're looking for. That's going to be ideal temperature for us to grill this chicken. And once I have a nice char on that skin, I'm going to take the chicken out, set it aside. We're going to pull the grill grates off. I'm going to throw my chips on, put the diffuser plate in, put the grill grates back on, then throw the chicken back on. At this point, the Komodo grill is going to turn into a smoker/oven. It's going to roast the chicken and smoke the chicken at the same time. It's going to get us where we want to be, nice and charred and smoky. For me, smoking chicken has been a bit of trial and error. I have completely smoked a chicken to death to where it was almost unedible. And that's how I learned my lesson. You don't ever want to over smoke chicken. You just want to kiss it with smoke. And you also lose a little bit of that juicy flavor in the process if you go overboard. So I recommend a little bit of smoke at first until you get it dialed into where you like it. So we got it up to 375, about where we want it. I have choked back the vents here and here so that our temperature will stay locked in right at this temperature. And I have the chicken ready to go. We're all set. I'm going to open this up. I'm going to put the lemon on first so I don't contaminate it with chicken juice. Here we go. I'm going to set it out on the outer edges. And the chicken itself, I'm going to pick up. I'm going to put it skin side down onto the grill grates, just like so. Get as much skin contact. Close her up and let it get a nice char on that skin. That's what we're looking for. About 10-15 minutes. So we got our grill grates off and our chicken set aside. Now we're going to throw in the wood chips, get a little smoke, put this diffuser plate in, and create the oven effect and smoker chamber that we were looking for. Yeah, baby, we're smoking. Ooh, we're smoking now. Woo! The legs and thighs are cooked to 175. Chicken breasts, which we're not eating just yet, I'll explain in a second, is cooked to 165. And as you can see, got a nice charred crust, but smoky, and it's going to have amazing flavor to it. It's going to be unbelievable. And we got our little lemon that we've grilled. We can squeeze that right on top.
Wow, awesome.
Just like so. And with the leftover chicken breast, what we're going to probably do is we'll cut it up and dice it up and use it like in a chicken tortilla soup or something else. Sky's the limit. So, have you tried some of your chicken yet?
I haven't.
No? Oh, let's dig in a little bit and see what we got here, all right? So I got a piece right here I'm going to take here. Oh my gosh.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Mm.
And some of Santa Barbara County's finest Pinot Noir. Once again, another successful dish with Shane Johnson. You've been watching Delicious Wine and Food with the Cork Dork. before we do that, we're actually going to grill it so you get some nice char marks on the skin. Then we'll reconstruct the... I get to the point where I run out of air. You know, over the centuries, especially back in the old days, what the hell is the old days? What's the old days? Well, the old days could have been yesterday. I have no idea. It's basically a clay type enclosure, and it really is very good at enclosing the moisture so that moisture, when you're grilling stuff, doesn't escape out into the great wild yonder.
All right.
Okay.
Okay, ready? Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. Look at that. Oh, I'm going to catch on fire. Oh!
We'll take it off. We will add our wood chips at that point, put the diffuser in, put the grill grate back on, and at this point the
Hey, Cork Dork. Maybe a little less wine.
that's what I get for standing right in the smoke.